Alright, starting a bit early today, it's 10:30 in the morning. Just can't figure the angle out of this camera. On the 16th of April 2019. Quite a bit to do today. I'm going to do my sausage and mash today and an onion gravy. So as I mentioned in the other the video the other day, as I mentioned in the video the other day, I know that I've got the mash, I know that I've got the potatoes and these carrots that I need to use up because they're well past their sell by date, and I know that and the parsley, and so what am I going to have with that? So thinking about it, like what am I going to have with it? Just as use what I've got as the starting point, and then work from there. So I know that I am going to have mash. What am I going to have with it? And I thought I'll have some sausages. I got these good sausages from Waitrose. They're what are they, 90% pork, which is what you want. You want the high percentage pork. Oh, it's quite difficult to think about this angle. And I cheated a wee bit. I got some gravy. I got some onion, just a tub of onion gravy. But then I knew I had these 2 onions that I wanted to use, and I was just going to get a tub of some kind of other gravy, just normal gravy, beef or chicken. They sold quite a few different kinds of gravy. But then, I was going to fry these onions up and put them in. But then I thought, well, why not just do both? It'll maybe be a wee bit too much onions, but it'll be alright. So to cook the sausages, I'm just going to fry these onions up in that big pan and fry it all up. Fry the sausages and the onions. So start these first, fry the sausages and the onions first, because the longer they cook, and then add that gravy, the longer they cook the better. And then do the mash, and then everything should sort of cook together. It should cook up together at the same time. Hopefully, yeah. So I was going to put this in the oven. It probably would benefit from going in the oven, but I think I'll just do it on the top. It's just a wee bit simpler. Let's put in the onion. To chop loads of onions in the different jobs I did. So when you come to chop an onion, if you chop it this way, then all the pieces are nice and kind of even. You know, all the pieces are quite kind of even, and they're all the same, and they're all quite uniform. Whereas if you chop it this way, you get funny different shapes, you get flat pieces, you kind of get an arrangement of different things, which I kind of quite like. So I'm going to cut it that way. I'm just going to put just a wee bit of vegetable oil. It's a little bit hot. Put my fan on. I should really open my door actually. Make it a wee bit smelly. You want a fairly decent heat in that and get a bit of colour into it. Now, whether or not you should prick these sausages or not, quite loud. Whether you should prick the sausages or not, to be honest, I'm not quite sure. Sorry, this is quite a noisy dinner, this. Some people will say that you should, and some people will say that you shouldn't. So to be honest, I'm not quite sure. Why don't we see what we can, tell you what we can do, right? Well, actually, let's just do an experiment. Let's if we prick 3 of them, and not the other 3, and we'll see what kind of differences we get, if any. Some people will say you want to be letting let the fat out, but then other people will say, well, you know, you want to keep the fat in so they stay juicy. Turn it down a little bit. So you just want to basically get some colour onto all the sides of them, so all the sides of the sausages and the onions. To get it on a medium heat, or not in any hurry, that'll take as long as it takes. So once you get some colour onto that, we'll just pour this tub of gravy onto it. I'll just pour the whole lot onto it, and that's it. I can figure out how to open it. Smell anything. Okay, mashed potatoes. So I had done some mashed potatoes in my first video, but I didn't show you the way I cooked them. It's pretty straightforward. And if you remember what I was saying right in my first video, one of the reasons for doing these videos was that a girl that I worked with, I wonder if you can hear me over this noise. Just shut the door. Stop there in my bedroom getting full of the smell of onions. One of the reasons that I wanted to do these videos was because this girl that I worked with had said that it took her forever and a day to peel a few potatoes. So what I can do is I can show you how I'll do mashed potatoes. These are really old, these potatoes. They've been, because I stored them properly in the fridge, I didn't just leave an open bag. You know, I didn't just leave the bag open like that, stuck under the sink or whatever. Because I've stored them properly, these are good. These potatoes are still hard and they're still good. So you burn a bit on it there. But so once they've been stored for a wee, I mean these ran out on this is the 16th of April, and these expired on the 9th of April. So that's a week ago, and they're absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with them at all. And I'm not even going to peel them. So when this girl is saying it's taken her forever to do some mashed potatoes, I can show you how I'll do it. So I'm going to cook up 3 portions here, so two sausages per portion. Some nice colour on the bottom there. I'm going to put some peas in this later on as well. So that's done. So you know what I mean, there's no effort, no time in it at all. You fill up the water and stick it on and that's it. So there's no 20 minutes or half an hour or whatever it was taking. It takes whatever that took, a minute or something. I've always been peeling carrots like that. Like I'm a bit funny about peeling things, so I won't peel my potatoes, and I quite like that. But when it comes to carrots, I always peel carrots. I don't like an unpeeled carrot. And I've been using this peeler, one of these peelers, for quite a long time. And the problem with it is when you're doing that, you're quite close to your finger. You're quite close to catching a nail on a finger. But what's most annoying with one of these is when you do that, and you kind of it catches at the top and it knocks it. So they're annoying me now actually. So I got one of these. Again, it's that £1 or £2 or something. There's nothing. It's cheap. And this is my new way of peeling carrots. Don't have to be too precise. Just like that. Nothing to it. And it doesn't drop. You don't knock it. And you could be putting other things into this mash, like celeriac maybe, mulli maybe, you know, that white radish. It's maybe a wee bit watery. Never tried that, but root vegetables, swede would be really good, that kind of thing. So any kind of other root vegetables you could just put in to this mash, boil it up. And the potatoes take a bit longer, sorry, the potatoes are quicker, it's the opposite of what I meant. The potatoes cook quicker than the carrots, so you see the thickness of the potatoes there, so you probably want to cut these carrots quite thin. See how that's getting a bit of darkness on it. Just put a wee touch of water in there. It was quite dark in the bottom of that pan there, you can see it. So you just put in a wee touch of water and it just stops it cooking, just stops it catching. Don't want it to burn. And that will just slow things down a wee bit so you keep in control of it. Try and get... It's quite difficult to get the colour onto the sausages without them burning, but maybe that's why the oven would be a better idea. But we shall just let that go. So you can see I'm doing the carrots fairly thin relative to the potatoes. Don't have to be too accurate, but just a lot thinner. See how useful this you can see how useful the cleaver is, how efficient it makes you. You don't have to pick the chopping board up or anything, just scoop it up. So that was a lot of mash actually. So just stick the hot tap on it and give it a wash first of all, give it a wee rinse. big actually. So it's there, so that's done. So nothing to it. I'm going to put a wee bit of salt in it, just a wee touch of salt, not too much, because I'm going to put some more salt on at the end when I mash it. So a wee bit of potatoes and carrots. Basically, they'll be cooked when just boil it up, turn it down, and then they'll be cooked when when you can put a knife through the sausage. When you can put a knife through the potato, and it goes right through nice and easily. Starting to get a wee bit of colour onto these sausages. But that was a wee trick there, so it was starting to catch a wee bit, because you want it to be warm enough, you want it to be hot enough so you can try and get some wee bits of colour onto the sausages, but you don't want the obviously to burn. But it was starting to burn a wee bit there, it was starting to catch. Just stick a wee bit of cold water in it and it slows everything down, and then we're in no hurry here. We'll just let the heat build up again, and then it'll start adding colour again. So we clean up. So when I boil the potatoes, I will add some parsley. I'll add the parsley into it. So this is going to be the last of this parsley, and I will just see what I can do to keep that. Maybe put some of the stalks into this. I'm going to put some peas in that as well. But some of the really thick stalks we can just get rid of. So a bit of work here. So I'm probably not going to show all of this cooked all the way through. I'll maybe cut away and come back to it, because this will benefit from being cooked for a fair amount of time. There's an awful lot of parsley you get for it's an awful lot of parsley for £1, or the supermarkets are just very, very expensive when they sell you a tiny little packet for 80p. That's probably the reality of it. So what I'm thinking is there's quite a lot of flavour in the stalks of the parsley. I might put them through this kind of early on. Take through so I put all that through the mash. A couple more of these stalks. hanging everywhere. I mean, I'm just putting onions in with these sausages, but you could be putting carrots and other vegetables in as well. But just, you know, sausages and mash and onion gravy, it's just, you know, it's just nice and simple. So it's starting to catch again, but I think we'll go with that. I think that's enough in terms of colour. They're a wee bit light, but they'll be all right. So we'll bung this. What I'll do is I'll put another touch of water into it. I'm going to turn the temperature right up. So just that wee bit of water, and what that will do is it'll let me clean the bottom of the pan, because that's all good flavour that the onions have created. I'll just clean the bottom of this pan. It smells really good. There's going to be a lot of onions in this, and then once that's clean, just bung this in. Put maybe some dried herbs into that as well, actually. So there you go, sausages and an onion gravy. So I've never tried this particular gravy before. The Waitrose one, I've never tried it, but you know, it's Waitrose, it should be good. I'll just stick a lid on that and let it cook, and then maybe take the lid off near the end and let it reduce a wee bit. Just put some water into that. So I'm thinking I'll put some of these parsley stalks in just now, because they're a bit more stronger in flavour. Why not? I'm thinking put some of my mixed herbs through it as well. So I'll use my wee mixed herbs, my wee herb mixture. Just put a wee sprinkle. These are quite powerful, so just a wee bit of that through it. And then once that's cooked for a wee bit, I shall put some peas in it as well. Don't want to put the peas in too early because they kind of shrivel up. And that's you there, stewed sausages. And basically, the longer you cook that for, the better. It's just going to keep getting better and better. So what I'll do is, because we're just going to be watching things boiling, we're waiting for water to boil now, and just watching these sausages cook, so there's not much so that's the work done, and 2 sausages per portion, so that's going to last me that's going to do 3 meals, and now we're just going to sit and wait for this to cook. So I'll sign off for just now, and I'll come back when the mashed potatoes are ready. So that's starting to boil. Take it down to 1, pop the lid on it, and just leave it. These potatoes, they're not even boiled yet, so I will come back. So all I'm going to do is boil these up, I'm going to turn it down, and I'll come back to you when the potatoes are boiled, and then we will finish that off. So I'll be back in a second. Alright, so I got a wee bit distracted there, and I think I've overcooked the potatoes a wee bit. I keep forgetting to look at the clock before I sign off, but that took should take 10 minutes to cook those potatoes. But basically you want to cook them until a knife falls through them, which I know it will do because I can see the skin starting to come off them, because I've gone a wee bit too far with them. But it's okay. So it actually was closer to 15 minutes there for that, but that's too much. So about 10 minutes to cook those potatoes. could put them through a colander, but it's just another thing to clean up. I haven't got any cream. Again, I don't tend to have cream very often, but they almost look like they've been mashed already, which is not a good sign. So when it comes to doing mashed potatoes, it's quite simple actually. Let's have a look at the sausages. They're cranking along nicely. Turn the temperature up a wee bit, and I'll put the peas in just now. So that's just the onion gravy, sausages and onions, a bit of mixed herbs, a bit of parsley, and a whole load of parsley stalks, and now a whole load of peas. So I'm going to have a portion of this just now, and then for the next couple of days, so depends how I feel today, and then last one tomorrow, I'll just take 2 sausages, just take a bit of that and heat it up. I'll show you that next time. So I'm going to leave the lid off now, and just let it cook with the lid off so it can reduce a wee bit, so it'll thicken. Potatoes, I have just got some butter. I'm just going to put in a bit of butter. As little or as much as you want. Again, I should wash that knife, but can't be bothered. So I didn't put a lot of salt into the water, so I'm going to put a wee touch more salt into it now. There's also salt in that butter, a bit of pepper, a good pinch of pepper, and a great bit of nutmeg into it as well. So I've got my whole nutmegs. I'm probably going to finish this one off. These are really good. These microplane graters. This is the fine one, and I've just got my nutmeg, my whole nutmeg seed. You can just put the powder in if you want, but it's quite nice to grate it. And be really careful with these microplanes because they're razors. You catch your finger on that and you will cut yourself. Especially when you get to the very end of the nutmeg or whatever you're grating. Just pile plenty of that in. Might put a wee touch of milk in it as well. Actually, I don't know if I've got any milk. I think I might have run out. Actually, I don't have any milk. We should call that finished. Yeah, I don't have any milk, unfortunately. Excuse me. That's some mashed potatoes. That's some potatoes with carrots, salt, pepper, nutmeg, butter. I would put a wee touch of milk in it if I had it. Softens it. Or if it's a weekend or whatever, every couple of months or whatever, I might put a bit of cream in it. And that's if you want it kind of perfect, really rich, really good, you put some cream in it. You don't have to be too hopefully I can mute that because that's ridiculous. You don't have to be too precise with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just a bit of crushed vegetables. An old trusty silicone spatula. So there's a bit of work involved in this, but it's pretty straightforward. And now this is done, this will do me 3 dinners. As one of the drawbacks of living on your own is that you do eat the same thing day after day, because you buy a packet of sausages. Unless you start going and finding butchers and buying just 2 sausages, which I don't have any. The only butchers around here where I live are all halal butchers, and they don't sell obviously any pork sausages or anything like that, so I have to travel a bit of distance to get to a normal butcher who'll sell some sausages. So the only option really is parsley. The only option really is supermarkets, where they only sell them in 6s. So you've got to kind of work with that a wee bit. But what I've done to deal with that is just make it really good, really delicious, really good, and you don't mind eating the same thing 3 days in a row. You kind of crave it. You kind of you want it. You know, you look forward to it actually, because it's so good. Because this is quite comfort foodish. This is quite moreish. Parsley in that. And that's it. It's easier done in the dishwasher. I'll do up a portion of this just now. See how we go on. Have a look at those sausages and see if we can tell the difference between the ones that we pricked and the ones that we didn't. So that's your fresh parsley through the mash there, so uncooked. I can smell it. It's really good. And you see the quantity I put in there. You don't skimp on that. You know, put plenty in. Full of iron. Good for you. See there, nice bit of mash. That's an awful lot of mash, but it's good. So I reckon I'll just serve a portion of this up just now. So nothing fancy, I'm just going to slap this onto the plate. So we're getting this cooled as quick as possible, so leaving that out on the side like that. Put the lid on it so it doesn't dry out, but get that cooled nice and quick. I should put it into a plastic container, but again I probably won't. And I will, what will I do with this? I'll turn that off, we'll call that done. Just going to use a spoon. So that's your sausages, onions, plus more onions with the onion gravy. It doesn't look ridiculously oniony actually. It looks pretty good. And stick a couple of these sausages. I'm not quite happy about the colour I got in those sausages. That didn't work out quite as well as I would have hoped. So I'll think about that for next time. They're a wee bit beige looking. I'll sort that out for next time. I'll think of a better way of doing it where you can get colour on it but that it doesn't burn in the bottom of the pan. I'll think about that for next time. It might just be this particular pan that I'm using, but most crucial, I'll sort that out next time. Yeah, I don't really do this very often, but that looks really good. So I'm there's plenty of gravy. Making gravy yourself is quite a difficult thing, you know, to get it, to do good gravy. To do good gravy with roast, you know, that's kind of from roasted meats, it's quite a difficult thing to do. So, you know, you're allowed every now and again to cheat a wee bit. So I'll put the lid back on that and we'll let that cool down, and we'll just let it, I'll leave that on the heat, because if that cooks for a wee bit longer it doesn't matter. But there you go, a nice wee bit of sausage and mash, onion gravy, peas. You get peas and carrots and onions. Does that count as 3 if you're 5 a day? I don't know. It might do. But yeah, that's that, sausage and mash. And talk to you next time. So the conclusion on that, could be better, I think. So yeah, could have got a wee bit more colour onto those sausages. They were 90% pork, 90% meat pork sausages. I think that might be actually a wee bit too high. The Cumberland sausage that was there had 97%. I think that's even just too high again. The sausages I normally get out of Tesco are 80% odd, and I kind of think they're better. I think that actually they benefit from that bit of extra fat. The gravy itself, it's the first time I've ever bought that kind of gravy. Didn't really taste it very much, and I think that it really could have done with being reduced right down. Or maybe I need to choose the beef gravy or the chicken gravy and just put lots of onions in it myself. I'll do that next time. The mashed potatoes were lovely as always, really good, nice flavour for the parsley and the carrots and the butter, and would benefit more with cream, but that's a treat from now and again. So mash was good, but yeah, sausages and gravy could be better. We'll sort that out. We'll do another one with this the next time I have this in a while, a couple of months or whatever, and I will I'll see what I can do. But I think with the other 2 portions, what I might do is just reduce it down, concentrate it a bit more. It'll get better. It'll get a wee bit better with it just sitting, but I'll reduce it and try and thicken the gravy a wee bit. But when I looked at the instructions on it, it said just open it and heat it, and that's it. It didn't say anything about reducing it or roasting it in the oven or anything like that. So that's just the way it is. So yeah, we'll see for next time.